Welcome to the Kansas City Real Estate Power Hour show, hosted by myself, Chris Dowell from Keller Williams. Keller Williams real estate agent for over 24 years. And my co-host is
Ron Yarbrough, Bank of Kansas City Mortgage.
Awesome. And Ron, who's our special guest today?
Today we're going to have Troy Fairchild, who is the brainchild behind a new company that will help consumers, insurance agents, and contractors that are very well qualified team up together to help homeowners do repairs on their houses, remodel houses, build houses, whatever. So Troy developed the company, and he'll give us more information about that in a few minutes.
Hey, thanks, Ron. We had some special technical difficulties here right before our show, so I'm on my laptop. My camera on my desktop went out just like literally 2-3 minutes before the show started, so I had to get my Chromebook out. But I will have my computer up and going, so if you have a question, feel free to ask us. Ask a question on our Google Plus community, Kansas City Real Estate Power Hour show, or you can email me directly at dowfamilyteam@gmail.com, or visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/KC Real Estate Show. And feel free to ask questions as we do the broadcast, or you can ask us later. And Troy, myself, and Ron will ask questions. How the show is conducted is we basically sit down and we talk about real estate, we talk about mortgage, and then talk about the topics that our special guests bring today. Ron, tell me what's going on with the mortgage industry. We had a pretty good discussion before the show, and you talked about being in a recession. What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't really think that we're in a recession, but what we are in is on the cusp of a slowdown of the very slow recovery we've been having in the past. We've been having a lot of economic news come out over the last couple of weeks, and it's been typically the news that's coming out has been a negative thing for interest rates, and interest rates have gone up. Well, we've seen just the exact opposite occur. Interest rates continue to improve, so we've got a very low interest rate environment to purchase a home. However, we are also seeing that the housing recovery is maybe going to slow down. Maybe the price increases on homes are going to stop in their tracks. Maybe we might have a small slowdown in the growth of our housing. So a couple of things. This last week, we've seen about a 0.25% improvement in interest rate. FHA remains pretty much at the floor rate, but there's a little bit extra yield that we can typically return to the home buyer in the way of a premium price at a 3.75 rate now. So that's it's pretty good. But the issue we've got with the housing is not the interest rates; it's the cost of the money after all the other add-ins, such as the mortgage insurance premium with FHA, the PMI cost or loan level pricing adjustments with Fannie Mae. Unless you've got a 740 credit score, you're not going to qualify for the low down payment, 5% down payment program with a very good APR. You may get a great interest rate, but you're not going to get the great APR. And the APR in a loan is really what is the cost of the money? What is your payment? How much are you going to have to pay? So if you look at an FHA loan today, for most typical first-time home buyers, they've had a couple of credit issues, or they've got relatively short credit histories, and they've only got about 3.5% for a down payment. They'll go with an FHA loan, and they'll get an interest rate of around 3.75. But the interest rate on that 3.75 will come back with an APR of 5.375 to 5.5. So the cost of that money is incredible. FHA, Federal Housing Administration, has decided that there needs to be a little bit more access to first-time home buyers, and they are working on some things, but they're working at government speed, so it's not a rapid fix by any means. But some of the things that they're doing are going to be fantastic for homeowners. I've been a firm believer in many years that homebuyer education is a paramount for any new home buyer to understand what it really costs to own a home and to maintain a home and be able to live a normal life in the future and not lose your home in the future and not have major incidents that you're not prepared for. So FHA is going to come out with an incentive, and hopefully that'll be this year, but they do move slowly. They're going to offer a little bit better discount on insurance rates, the upfront funding fee and the monthly mortgage insurance premium for those first-time home buyers that complete a housing counseling program. Fannie Mae has already got behind the program on allowing a discount on the private mortgage insurance rates if they can take the first-time home buyer course for the My Community program, which is a 5% down conventional loan with a pretty good interest rate. But now they're going to be getting even a discount on their mortgage insurance premium. So there's some incentives coming, but until the housing industry picks up enough incentives where the first-time home buyers can get out into the market, we're going to have a stall in housing, because the first-time home buyers are buying the house for the people that you're trying to sell their house today so that they can move up to a bigger home. Construction's falling a little behind in those move-up homes. So there's not a lot of supply. So a lot of things have to come together over the next 3 to 6 months before the housing recovery picks up. And then we're going to see interest rates start trekking up, because there is inflationary pressures, but they're just not on the wage end of the scale yet. And as soon as they trickle down into the wages, then we're going to see rates take a flying jump. So right now is a great time for a home buyer to go out, get the education that they need, to become an informed home buyer and get out there. And that's one of the exciting things about our meeting today with Troy is, one of the biggest concerns that home buyers have is, maintaining their home, and who do they call to fix something and that kind of stuff. So that's why we're excited to have Troy on the show today to help those home buyers out, so that he's already done the legwork to get these contractors approved and they're reputable that you can use. What do you think about the real estate market, Chris? I know you keep track of all the stats here locally. Do you have any kind of agreement in what I'm saying, or is that more on a national basis?
Well, I think, when I talk about real estate, real estate is a broad answer, because, it's different in Kansas City, Kansas, and Overland Park, Roland Park, Shawnee, Olathe, Gardner. But, I'm back. The real estate market is back to like it was in 2003 and 2004. You list a house, and you'll get 10 phone calls on it before you get the sign in the yard, or just within an hour of getting the sign in the yard. That's what it's like right now. The sad part is 90% of those people are calling, can't qualify for a house right now. So and it's usually something that happened 3 years ago. They went to the hospital, something happened, or their car broke down, and they got a few dings and they can't recover from them. And so we need to get those people to credit counselors to help them out. But 9 years ago, these people would be able to buy a home no problem at all. So I'd like to see the mortgage market kind of loosen up a little bit for these buyers, because most of them are good buyers. They just had a couple things that hit them that dinged them, and you can't be able to qualify. But as far as the real estate market, I'll give you an idea. In Gardner, Kansas, in the past 30 days, there has only been 2 homes that have sold and closed, in the past 30 days. In West Olathe, in the past 30 days, there's only been 1 home that is closed. In East Olathe, in the past 30 days, there's been 38 homes. In a typical market, Gardner would be about 29 to 30 in the past 30 days. Comparing that to last year, West Olathe would be 60 to 65. East Olathe would be in the same range, 60 to 65. So homes aren't closing right now. So I would like to get back. Homes are starting to sell in the past 3 weeks. Homes are selling, but man, our March was really bad, dismal, as far as homes sold actually closing for this month.
What do you think about other? I know you have a lot of relationships with a lot of agents in your office, because I think you've probably got, what, 80, 100 agents or something in your office?
Yes.
Some of the things I've been seeing lately are a lot of repair problems, a lot of appraisal issues, a lot of deficiencies on properties. How does the rest of the agents in your office, are they seeing a lot of appraisal issues? Is that why people aren't getting closed, or what is?
There's a lot of homes going back on the market. We in all these markets, there's almost as many homes that are showing for backups as there are pendings. And that means the agent, the buyer, they don't feel confident in the buyer, or they don't feel confident in the inspection process. They're allowing the house to be shown for backups. And those are much higher numbers than they have been in the last 2 years. I was talking to a couple of real estate agents this morning. We were talking about some of the problems they're having. We're not probably the biggest problem right now is the 200, the 150 to 250 buyers want to sell and want to move up, but they can't find the 150 to 250 buyers, and that's probably the biggest problem right now. The other problem is we need more inventory to spark the market to go. And one question that I would love asked, or I would like to ask people, and let me get this out here on my page, is a question I want to ask is, if I got blank out of my house, I would sell it this summer. And so maybe they can, maybe that homeowner can get blank out of their house, whatever they want out of their house. That's where the market's going back to. So maybe they can get blank out of their house. And I want people to email me, what do they think, what that question to that, the answer to that question. If I got blank out of my house, what would I would sell it this summer.
And that's a great idea, Chris.
Yeah.
I think that you need to get that information out in full stream, because I think there's a lot of people that really just they sit around their house and they think about that kind of question, and I don't care who you are, everything you got's for sale if somebody wants to buy it. You don't necessarily want to offer it up for sale, but if somebody is gonna write me a check because they want it and they name a price, I'll take it.
Right.
That's a great idea. I think that we need to get Troy in on the conversation here. Troy, why don't you tell us a little bit about Bids Made Easy? I don't know if anybody else has heard your story before of how you got started, but I think you are going to be an integral part of homeowners getting their house on the market and being able to fill in that blank on what they want to sell the house for. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I guess kind of in a nutshell, the short answer of what I do is, or property owners find contractors, pre-approved contractors in different areas, whether it's roofing, siding, windows, gutters, whatever, so that they can feel comfortable with getting the work done, through them. Little bit longer answer, I guess, to that would be, all of us know somebody who has needed a contractor, if not personally, needed a contractor at some point, in our lives. And there's a lot of avenues out there to find them, right? I mean, you can open up a phone book. You can get on yellowpages.com. You can get on Angie's List nowadays and do things online. So there's a lot of good avenues out there, but every one of those avenues still, in my opinion, lacks some of the information to find them. But I think you still need to go through. Obviously the reviews are important, but you got to go through and find out that they're insured. How much insurance do they have? Are they up to date with the Secretary of State? Do they have the licenses that they need? So there's a lot of ways to find contractors, but there's not really a way that brings all things, or wasn't a way to how location and so I pop up the contractors that are pertinent.
Hey Troy, you might check your bandwidth.
Trying to see which contractor is right for you, and but
I don't know. Yeah, you're breaking up pretty bad on us on our end. We're having a hard time trying to understand you there at the end. I don't know if you're using a lot of bandwidth or if you're using, other resources are using bandwidth in your office, but it was breaking up quite a bit at the end.
Am I sounding better
I'm
now?
pretty familiar with. Pardon me?
Oh, am I sounding better now? I just closed a couple windows.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you sound better.
Screaming in.
I'm pretty familiar with your company, but what is the problem to the consumer that you're solving? What is it that you're solving for the users?
So again, what I'm solving is having to go out there and fish through all these different avenues, again, like the yellow pages, or asking friends about contractors and trying to fish down their insurance and all those things that you need to know about a contractor in order to make that decision. So I think the main problem that I'm solving is that I'm giving you all that information in one spot so that you can find the contractor that you need without having to waste all that time.
So Troy, if I I do real estate, but if I wanted to start a carpet business and wanted to be on your site, and I just want to start it today and get on your site tomorrow, can I do that?
So probably not. So it depends on your background. If you have a background in real estate and you don't have any background in the carpet business, then there's probably not going to be enough stability, and enough history for me to allow you to be on the site. I have a couple contractors that maybe came from, a general contracting company or landscaping, and they were there for 15, 20 years and just decided, they've been running that company the whole time, pretty much do all the work, that jump over to start their own company. In that situation, a company may be able to do it and get on the site, but they're going to start with a little bit of a lower rating because they're going to be a new company. They're not going to have that stability that a company would have if they were in business for 20 years.
One of the things I'm amazed about is you go out and check out their credit, you go check out their stability. Those are things that the average consumer can't do, correct?
So as far as getting the insurance, yes, you should be able to do that. You should be able to go out, ask them for their insurance certificate, call their agent and verify it and make sure that they are insured. As far as going through and pulling credit on a company, you can do it. It's going to cost you money to go out and pull credit. If you try to set up an account with like D&B, I know they charge a couple $100s to go and pull credit on a company. We're able to go through, because we buy a lot of credit and research a lot of contractors, are able to get discounts, when we go through and do that. So I don't actually provide the homeowners with the credit, but I can show you that stability factor, which is really a rating that we give based off of the company's credit reports. And a lot of companies that are smaller might not have very much on their credit reports. So in that case, you may need to go out and just gather up all their suppliers' information and get a 12-month history or 24-month history to make sure that they're stable, they're paying their bills on time. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do as a homeowner to research a contractor, and I encourage you to do all those things anytime you're looking at a contract, especially if you might get a good referral from a friend, but that doesn't mean that company's insured and is stable and has all the licensing that they need. So what I do is I go out and I do all that up front so that you don't have to as a homeowner. So I'm saving you time on that front end.
Now, I know for myself, I was involved in a major renovation of a house that I lost to a fire, and got a contractor who ripped me off really bad. What events led you to start this business, Troy?
So there was a lot of events, I think, that led to it. You know, I was in before, so I was appraisals, inspections, come back with. I also started buying properties, flipping houses, owning rental properties back when I was 24. So there's a lot of things, and a lot of times I've needed contractors. But I think if I had to say a defining moment for me was when one of my rental properties had a property next door that burned down, and the fire was so hot it melted all the siding off my property. So, and I know you guys have heard this story before, but I ended up opening up the phone book, and I picked out the 3, best ads, best looking companies, the ones that I thought, were big, stable companies. All 3 of them were out of business already. The first 3 that I called, and it really hurt, I guess, my opinion of calling anybody out of the phone book. So that was the moment I decided, all right, I'm going to go out, start pre-screening contractors, and open this up to people like me, so that people in my situation wouldn't have to go through what I had to go through trying to find a contractor and dealing with all the kind of sketchy guys that were out there in the market. So.
Well, I recently had a bunch of work done on the house, and you're told all the time on the news you need to check out contractors, and you need to make sure, check with Better Business Bureau, and you need to look at their license. And, well, the guy, he handed me a copy of his insurance. I don't know. How would I even know if that insurance is valid? So, I mean, your service is so much better because now you understand the documents that you look at. You understand what they are. You know how to validate that information. An average consumer can put in 3-4 hours of work just to try to select one bid from a contractor, and let alone get 3 different bids. So you're talking about, they could have a full 8-hour day in to research 3 contractor bids, and then they don't even know for sure if that information has been falsified or not. And me being in banking, I know that kind of stuff goes on. That's why we check everything. So I think your service is a great service. If somebody wants to do a project today but they can't afford it, do you have any options for homeowners in that respect?
Yeah, there's a lot of options for homeowners out there. The first thing I'd say is project.
Hey, time out, Troy.
A project, talk to someone wrong financing.
Hey, Troy.
Yep.
You're breaking up on us really bad. Again.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You're breaking up on us bad.
I've got all my windows closed.
Oh, okay.
Ron, am I okay on your end, or am I breaking up there?
Right now you're okay, but you were breaking up.
Okay. So again, to answer your question there, Ron, there's a lot of options out there. It kind of depends on the size of the job, but I'd encourage people to reach out to somebody like Ron. Ron can help you out with home financing. Probably get a pretty good rate on a refinance like that. If it's something smaller that you do, or you don't have a connection with somebody like Ron, we do a financing event.
You're breaking up on us again.
Any better? Can you hear me, Chris?
I can hear you better now. It seems like when you get talking for a while, the bandwidth leaves.
Huh. Yeah, I've got everything closed.
Okay.
But
I don't know.
But yeah, just basically, short answer.
Okay.
jump on the website, Bids Made Easy. Up at the top, there's a financing options tab, and you can do an application and get to some financing options there.
Who's your target market for Bids Made Easy?
My advertising and marketing right now is really spent creating relationships with realtors, with home insurance agents, claims departments, and bankers. So anybody out there who's on this right now or watching who works with customers and has customers that need work done on their homes a lot of times, or comes up over, can take that off their plate, make that part of their job easier. We don't do a lot of marketing directly to the consumer, to the homeowners. However, we are starting to. But yeah, to answer that question, my target market right now, who I'm going after, and I can really help add value to your business, is going to be your agents. Again, the adjusters, realtors, bankers, property managers, and everybody in that category.
So, if you have a hailstorm, or if you have foundation needs, you need to add on to your house, do windows, flooring, pretty much anything in the house, go to your site, right? I think we lost.
Yeah, so we started.
You what now, Troy?
So we with just insurance agents, so we focused on the wind and hail type damage, fire and flood, but we have we've opened it up now to the non-insurance related things for for the agents to use, for the property managers. So really anything under the roof, if it involves construction, we have guys that can help you out.
That's awesome. Hey, back to you, Ron.
Yep.
So what do you think is going to happen in the with mortgages here in the future? Because I was listening yesterday, and they're talking about FHA mortgages are going to get a little bit looser.
Well, I think that that's part of the new blueprint. FHA is calling it Blueprint for Access, and what that is it's really more geared towards the education. And if you get that education completed, then you're going to get a discount. I don't think that they're necessarily looking to improve it as much as I would like to see it. I mean, I'd like to see right now the MIP rate for FHA is 1.35%, which means that over 1.25%, almost 1 3/8 of your APR is just in the monthly insuring fee going straight to FHA. That's what's hurting the access to consumers. There are some banks, Wells Fargo boasts that they will do credit scores to 580. There are people that are trying to attract borrowers with bad credit, which is, unfortunately, that is not to the consumer's best benefit, even though they think it is. Just to get a mortgage and you've got credit issues that you should overcome first doesn't set them up in a good position to succeed necessarily. But there is talk about a little bit of loosening on credit for FHA. But if you still have to go with FHA and you're paying an APR of close to 1.5% above the interest rate, is that really a big benefit to the consumer? Because they're going to buy something a lot less than what they wanted to begin with, and if they come under hard times, they're just going to walk away from it, and it doesn't put them in a good situation.
Gotcha.
Hey, guys, at the beginning, actually right before the show, we were kind of talking a little bit about the different markets, buying a house under, 150 to 250, and then going up to that 400 range. And have different, I think it's pretty interesting and valuable. If you guys want to touch on that just a little bit more.
Um, talking about the different markets between 150 to 250, and the big thing right now in the real estate market is I'm getting a lot of people that are calling me and that have homes between 150 to 250. I'm going out and showing them homes in the 250 to $500,000 range. They're not finding homes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I have a seller right now that we went out and found 10 homes they really liked last week. All 10 homes are sold. Not 9, 10. And they don't have confidence that the house they want is going to be on the market after they sell their house. And Ron and I both have clients that have ended up selling their homes thinking they can find a home. They haven't, and so they're renting right now. So we need inventory right now, bigger than anything.
And that's a good thing. One of the things with Troy is a realtor, or really preferably a home buyer that has had some inspection issues or appraisal issues, can get online on Troy's bidmadeeasy.com, fill out a request to have 3 contractors go out and give good, valid bids for work that needs to be done to get that transaction completed, and get it done in a very short period of time and be able to complete their sale. Preferably it'd be the home buyer, not necessarily the realtor, because a lot of times realtors will refer people to the site, get their 3 bids, and then have their buddy Joe go over and take care of it. So it kind of wastes a little bit of the contractor's time, but they're going to get a really good valid bid from a very well qualified contractor. On the other side, somebody that's thinking about buying their home or selling their home, in order to get the most money out of a home, somebody's not going to want to sell it and then have a buyer come in and find $3,000 worth of work that needs to be done, because if they do, then they're going to want to pay $5,000 or $6,000 less for the house. So it's a good time to go to bidsmadeeasy.com. You can actually find a home inspector on there if you need to. Get your house pre-inspected. Get those inspections out to 3 different contractors. Have them come in and take care of all that little work. And then when you get your house under contract, it's a fast, easy deal. I mean, they come in, all the minor things are taken care of. If something more important shows up, you can negotiate it out. And that kind of leads me into next week's show. We're going to have a professional photographer, real estate photographer on here to show people how they can enhance their listings and stuff like that. So the market is really going towards those people that are more detail oriented in planning, both in the mortgage side of things and in the sales side of things. You've got to be detailed, and you have to be patient, and you got to have the ready to pull the trigger when the timing's right.
The last 3 years, we've had 3 in Kansas City. We've had 3 segments of buyers that have been pretty much gone. We have had first-time home buyers that haven't. There's an abundance of people that are renting right now that haven't gone out and bought, that are first-time home buyers. We have relocation people that haven't taken new jobs because they can't sell where they're coming from. We're having people in Seattle, Michigan, and California that are getting jobs, job offers here in Kansas City, but they can't move because they haven't sold their home where they're coming from. Now they're starting to sell their homes. Relocation is starting to pick up, and then we have the people that are credit challenged that 8, 9 years ago could buy homes, now can't buy homes. Basically, they're being told fix the credit, then buy the home, but they want to do it the other way around. They want to buy the home, then fix the credit. And we've had credit people on our show before that fix credit repair people, and there's a host of people that can help people fix their credit. And I would recommend fix the credit, go buy a home. But those 3 seconds have been missing.
Chris,
they're coming back.
I've got a quick question for you, Chris. Earlier, you were talking about how a lot of people are making backup offers and they're leaving homes, even though they get an offer, they'll leave it out there just in case it falls through. How often does that actually happen? What's the percentage?
I got 2 people right now last week out of the 5 contracts I got together last week. 2 of them were on houses that flipped, that the deals fell through. And so it's happening. But I mean, there's always a segment of the market, of the real estate market, where houses flip for whatever reason. Could be because of buyer's credit, could be because of the house, it could be because they lost their job or whatever. And that always happens, but we're probably, in the last couple of years, we've had a few more because of credit. People, I've had people that houses for sale, people go and buy it, a buyer goes and buys them, being represented by a buyer's agent, and 2 days before closing, they go out and buy a bunch of furniture. Or they go buy a car, and it just messes them up. I've got a buyer right now that their car broke down. They can't go buy a car until they buy their house, so they're closing on their house 5 days earlier, so they can go buy a car afterwards. And it just you got to counsel your clients and make sure they understand what's going on.
Say, luckily you were there to help them through that one, so they didn't go buy the car.
Yeah, I pretty much I make sure that the loan officer explains to them, do not change anything on your credit. Don't change anything. Don't change anything. I mean, not even if it's you buy it now and don't pay for it for 6 months. Don't change anything. And I said, if you do, make sure you contact me ASAP. And they called me and said, hey, my car broke down. I got to go buy a new car. And I go, well, if you go buy a new car, according to the loan officer, you will not be able to buy the house. So they decided to hold off on the car.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, usually when I tell that to a first-time home buyer, they kind of listen, and I'm pretty sure I know what they hear. Blah, 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 blah. When is closing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's an important thing because, 10 days before closing, we do what's called a soft credit pull. And when we pull that soft credit pull, we look for any large balance increases on existing lines of credit. And then we also look for any new accounts that are open. We actually, we look at collections being popped up and stuff like that. Under the new rules of underwriting and delivery of loans into the secondary market, through HUD or FHA or Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, if a collection pops up, we're required to pull a whole new credit bureau. And we all know what a recent collection will do to a credit score. And if we've got minimum credit score criteria to meet, it could very well blow up a deal 10 days before closing. And the seller of that home, it wasn't their fault, and it causes a lot of problems. So consumers have to be very aware of their credit situation and not open up any new lines.
And I think, when I'm looking at a deal with another agent, I really, there's some good quality agents out there. I'm working with an agent right now from Better Homes and Garden, and she's a listing agent on the property, and I'm the buyer's agent. She's already, they've already done all their repairs, and she's already sent me the receipts before walkthrough. I haven't even requested them. And usually I have to call the seller's agent 5 or 6 times to get receipts. I have another property I'm a listing agent on, and I have already sent the receipts over to the buyer's agent. She just flipped out. She's like, you got to be kidding me. You're sending them to me 2 weeks before closing? She was flipping out. She's like, no one ever does that. And I think, in this day and age, I appreciate working with agents who are on top of things, and taking care of what they're supposed to take care of. And I know that has a lot to do with our clients too. But a good professional real estate agent is going to counsel their client through the transaction and make sure they're on top of things, not wait until the last second and everything. So, it's, 5 years ago or, 6 years ago, we could, you just sign the contract and people can waltz through closing. You can't do that now. You have to follow through on things, or the deal will flip for many reasons. There's thousands of reasons why they'll flip. Everything. So it's we have to work hard. So
I thought being a realtor, all you had to do is just sit there and put a few things in the computer and wait for the phone to ring. Is that not an accurate statement?
Wow. I was just talking to one of my real estate buddies this morning. And we've both been doing real estate for over 20 years. And we were talking about how much the real estate business has changed. And, back in the early or late 80s, early 90s, when we were doing real estate, to do a one transaction, it required a lot of work. I mean, there was no computers. You had to do everything by hand. And there was a lot of work. We kind of got soft when the computers came out, and we can do all of our transactions on the computer, and the title company, we just assume they're doing their job, and the mortgage company, we're assuming they're doing their job, and home warranty, everybody's doing their job. We got so busy, then, if you're dealing with somebody that wasn't doing their part, the deal can flip. And so we had to start watching things. We're getting to the point now where, as a real estate agent, you're the manager and making sure everybody's doing their job. And you can't assume that XYZ person's doing their job and everything. So it's a lot of work. And getting the business, it's not like it used to be. It's a lot of hard work. But you knew that, Ron.
I knew that. It used to be, actually, it used to be very easy in our industry, but I probably spent an average of 7 to 8 hours on every single loan application, and that's with the help of my assistant and processor. I got a full staff that's spending time on a file, but my individual attention to the file could be 6 to 8 hours. You multiply that times 20 closings a month. That's a lot of time spent on making sure compliance is in place and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I just put a house on the market this morning, and I've been working on this for about a month. And the seller called me this morning and said, I didn't realize how hard real estate agents work to get a house on the market. Yeah, because I've been emailing them, texting them, everything I'm doing. And he goes, I didn't realize you guys did all this stuff. Well, not everybody does, but if we want to get the home sold at the highest dollar, there's a lot of work to do. And he referred me to a for sale by owner who called me up and said, hey, I want to visit with you next week. And it's just, if you do a lot of hard, if you do your job right and you're full time, people appreciate it and they're going to refer you. And that's a lot of my business. I mean, Ron, you've referred me, a lot of business. A lot of people refer me because I follow through and I make sure that the job gets done. And just as much as real estate agent can get the job done, there's a lot of real estate agents that can also confuse everybody and make it worse or harder to do.
Well, I can. Here's something that I think the average consumers can relate to. A realtor is similar to an event planner. If you just think about, you're going to have an event at your house with a bunch of people. It could be let's say it's a engagement party, or it's going to be at a restaurant. Just think of the amount of details that you have to plan in advance to pull off that 1 hour event. If you're selling a house or buying a house, that's what you're doing. You're planning an event, and all that event, it takes 30 days. You got 30 days to plan that event and close that event and have a successful event. So maybe consumers can understand that a little bit better. But that's what you're doing. You're taking care of the details and get it done. And then when a consumer moves in, just think of the details that they forget. Oh, electricity. Yeah, we need to get the electricity. All those little things.
Right.
That are taken care of. But anyway, I think this has been a really good show. Troy, is he still there, or is he kind of frozen?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Is my band better?
Yeah, just your names up there now. I think you did a great job, and I'm really looking forward to your company growing and getting that name of your company out there because it's a great service. And next week, Chris, tell us a little bit about the photographer. I know you've worked with her in the past. Who's our guest going to be?
Sandy Adams. She's a real estate photographer, and I know you talked a little bit more about what she's going to be doing, but she's going to come on board and tell us how to get the house ready to shine for those photos, and what she needs to do to really make the house look good on the internet. And quite frankly, for me, if the house shows really good on the internet, I get a lot of phone calls. If it doesn't show real good, I might get 1 or 2 phone calls during the whole time of the listing. So, how it shines on those pictures really makes a big difference.
That's cool.
Really excited to have Sandy on next week.
All right.
I think that kind of concludes our show today. Feel free to visit us on our Facebook page, Kansas City Real Estate Power Hour Show, and also on Google Plus on our community, Kansas City Real Estate Power Hour Show. Like us, Facebook, friend us, do whatever. We just like to hear from you, and if there's anything we can help you out in the future, real estate or mortgage-wise, feel free to give us a shout. And if you need me help on any projects around the house, visit bidsmadeeasy.com. And Troy follows up and makes sure that all of his clients get real exceptional good service, something like that. And is there a spot on there where they can put where they heard about Bids Made Easy?
Yeah, so usually when I do the welcome call and introduce myself to them, I'll ask them the question, and then I kind of track that.
Okay.
Not up front right now.
Well, that's awesome. Hey, thanks, Troy. And Ron and Troy, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hey, Chris, Ron, thanks for having me.
Pardon me, Troy?
Oh, I was just thanking you guys
awesome.
for having me.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Troy. Thanks, Ron.